Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jalopy Johnson Garage, and we are doing a really cool project. I'm doing 4 really cool projects today with purpose. So how many of you have old photographs under the bed, in the closet? You know, these are our memories. You know, now we take pictures on the phone, but these are special photographs, and how do we get them out? That's the challenge. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 4 ways to get creative. Get them photos out from under your bed, create a cool, upcycle, trash to treasure, whatever project, and get them out so you can share these photos with your friends and family. All right, how cool is this picture? This is me. I'm probably 10 years old. And I remember this picture. My brother was in a photo class in high school, and he was taking all kinds of pictures. But what's really cool about this picture is it just kind of captures me with my towhead hair, blonde hair. I had a broken arm at the time, played soccer. Look at that outfit. You know, those are, I believe, Cords, Vans. But this is what really caught my eye was this. I'm actually giving my brother the bird in this picture. I thought that was hilarious. So definitely want to display this. This is going to be a perfect one to hang up in the shop. And I couldn't think of a better way to display this than on a clipboard. It's so simple, but it's so cool for this picture. So the first phase here is just going to be me cleaning it up. All right, so it's all clean, and now it's how am I gonna mount the picture? Yeah, I could easily just stick the picture underneath the clip there, but I want this to be like permanent, so if we just stick the picture up underneath there, it might curl or something down the road. So I got these little glue gummy things that kind of go on there, so I'm just putting those on for extra measure, and we'll stick it under there like it's clipped on, but those little gummy things are gonna keep it from coiling up and kind of in the humidity outside here in the garage. I thought that was a good idea. But we're not done there. So there's a little room at the bottom of the clipboard, and I thought, shoot, this picture tells a story. And if I'm gonna be hanging it in my shop, it's gonna be out in the open. I'm assuming people are gonna ask about it. So I thought it would be really, really neat to kind of maybe just write on the clipboard a title of the picture or the date of the picture. So that's what I did. I thought about it for a little bit, and I ended up giving this picture a name. I put the year the picture was taken, and I thought that would be a neat way to, I don't know, just kind of tell the story a little bit better. I mean, it was a different time back then, you know. We didn't have cell phones or anything. We played on the street, you know, played soccer on the street, rode our bikes on the street. You know, this is brotherly love. We fought all the time. We loved each other, but, you know, I can't tell you how many cuss fights we had and whatnot. So giving him the bird in this photo and him not noticing, like I said, I thought it was hilarious. And I love the fact that we can bring these memories out of the box and put them on display. So giving this thing a title, you're gonna see the title in a minute. I think you'll laugh. But more importantly, it's gonna make me smile every time I see it. So before we get to the next photos, which are going to be super fun and super creative ways to display those as well, let me just show you what I'm doing here to mount this photo. I just decided to put some glue on and put some magnets on this clipboard because in my shop I have a lot of metal. I got the metal workbenches, I got the metal workbench, I got the metal truck bed behind me. So putting metal on this thing is going to be an easy way to mount this thing, put it in the shop, and I'm looking forward to showing you the results here. moving on to project number 2, or photo number 2. Funny thing about this photo is I don't know who it is. I know it's a relative of mine, but I picked the photo just because it had a good border around it. It's clear, it's a nice photo, and it's the right shape for this project. And by right shape for this project, you'll see in a moment, I mean, it's actually the perfect shape for the, well, I'm just gonna spit it out, the jar I'm going to use to put this photo in. But first things first, this is, once again, another simple idea, not complicated, but it gets the photo out of the box, and I'm targeting the location for this project is gonna be in the kitchen. So keep that in mind as we progress. But to start off, I'm really just taking Mod Podge, going right around the edge of this border here, and then next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stick it inside a jar. Now, not just any jar, the perfect jar. So this is a cool vintage jar that has like texture on all the sides, but you'll see right there on the front, it's got a clear spot that's just the right size for the photo. Now, getting the photo in there was pretty simple, but then I was like, oh shoot, how am I gonna get this thing to stick to the other side without getting that Mod Podge all over the place? And truth be told, it took me a couple times, but this is the right way on how to do it. So I carefully or simply got it up there, flipped it over, and then I'm using a soft or a rounded edge of that screwdriver to kind of push it down and get it stuck to the glass. That's why I only put the glue around the edges, so it didn't have no like bubbles or streaking on the front. Now you could use anything to fill this up. I'm using rice. Like I said, it's going in the kitchen. Our kitchen's kind of like white and black, and I wanted the color to kind of be cohesive, but shoot, you could put split peas in there if you wanted to have green in your kitchen. You could put beans in there if you wanted brown in your kitchen. You know, limitless on what you wanted to use for filler in here. You could even put, if you wanted not in a kitchen, you could put anything else in it, put it in a different room. Okay, for the lid, this jar had a really cool lid that I had with it, but I'll save that for another project because I need the top to be open. So using a newer lid, I gotta make it look vintage and old to go with the vintage picture, obviously. And the way I'm gonna do that is pour some muriatic acid into a dish. Then I'll let the lid soak for a little bit and kind of etch it out. Now, after it sits for a few minutes, you know, I'll carefully bring it out of here. Now, I'm not wearing gloves. I guess you probably should. I don't. I guess I'm not scared, but anyhow, I don't wear gloves. Every once in a while, I'll get a little splash on me. It burns a little bit, but no big deal. No harm, no foul for me on this particular incident. But then I bring out the peroxide. So the peroxide kind of gets in some of the edge part of this, and we'll dull it up a little bit. And it's still not turning as much as I'd like it to, so then I'll add some salt, and then that definitely reacts to the peroxide and really gives it like this oxidized look. So this is a way to make new stuff look old. You can really see the difference here now that it's dried off. I'll polish it out a little bit. Doesn't look like super old, but it's definitely not shiny. All right, we're in the final stretch here, so I'm not gonna do too much narrating, but basically I'm just gonna put the lid on this thing, and we're gonna foo-foo it up with some flowers that I got from Hobby Lobby, I believe. Kind of soften it up a little bit, bring this thing all together. But we're not done yet. So it needed something a little bit more. I decided to go ahead and put on some jute to kind of give it that country look. You know, I'm gonna try to sneak this into my house. My wife doesn't always like me bringing my projects in, but this one I think I might be able to sneak in and go with her decor on the inside of the house. So definitely gonna have to put a little bow on it or button it up a little bit. And then I'll show you the reveal here shortly. And then we'll move on to the next two projects. right, project number 3. I've got to tell you, this one was a little bit hard. This one is the most sentimental of all the projects, and the one actually I turned out to be most proud of in the end. But this is my mom. So, and there's 4 pictures going into this project, and these are old pictures of my mom with her 3 sisters. She had 3 sisters. She was the second. This particular picture here is of her older sister who died when she was young. That was Norma. And then this picture here has her younger sister, Janet, out in front of the house. That's her right there. And then this next picture, because this project has 4 sides, so I needed a picture of her by herself. I thought this was the cutest picture of her when she was younger. Love that picture. And then finally, this picture here has my mom, who is the older girl there, and her youngest sister, quite a bit younger, Johnny K, on this photo. And I kind of determined that by the date on the side there. So how cool is it that we're going to do a project with all my mom's sisters and one of herself and get it out on the shelf and out of the box. So for this project, it's a trash to treasure project is what it is. This is a old lantern, it's like a gas lantern, and then this candle pillar. And this is the way I found them. And they weren't together, but they match, which was kind of cool. They got this red patina on both pieces. So I figured, shoot, I'll just put these 2 things together, and I'm going to throw the pictures on each one of the windows on the side. So to get started, it's just a simple scrub-a-dub cleaning. And then I take apart the pieces on the lantern, carefully figuring out, how to unbend those little metal chrome frames and get the glass out. And once I get it all deconstructed, I'm going to go ahead and clean it all again. All right, everything's cleaned, and now I'm just gonna move on to the base. And I love it when things work out so nicely. So I'm cutting it right here at the small collar of the neck of the candle holder. That's gonna be the spot that fits as close, I'm guessing, as close as I can inside to the lantern there. So the moment of truth should fit. It almost fit. Not quite. A little sanding and it's going to fit nice and snug. Not a lot of work to do at all. So just a little bit of sanding. I got it all done by hand. And then I went and brought out my Make It Look Old stain and cleaned up the base. Kind of gives it that patina. And then I also used it on the metal part to kind of give it a unified look. All right, so while that kind of settles in, I'm going to start cleaning the glass. And the glass was kind of dingy. It was real dingy, as a matter of fact, and it took a couple of times to get it there. You can kind of see here all that little crusty stuff on the edges and whatnot. So one initial cleaning wasn't enough. So here you'll see me bring out the razor blade to scrape all the edges. Eventually it gets really, really clean, but you just got to stick with it. All right, the home stretch of project number 3 is basically just cutting the pictures out. I took the glass and used that just to measure to cut the pictures out, cut all 4 of them the same shape, reassembled the project, and then to finish it off, just gonna put some glue on the base and some felt on the base. That way it doesn't scratch up the pretty shelf I put it on. I absolutely love this. I love the 4-sided pieces. I love the whole sentimental, all my mom's sisters, my mom. It gets it out of the box. It's got this pop of color. Currently we have it in the guest bedroom. I'll show you the pics of those right now. All right, we're on to the last one, the best for last. When I say the best, this project turns out so awesome. This is a picture of my grandpa. He was a welder. These photos were in the box. We're gonna get them out of the box and we're gonna make a cool industrial display. That's my grandpa right there in the welding mask, by the way. Anyhow, we're gonna make this thing an industrial display, get it out of the box, and really make these pictures just shine. These are the parts that I'm using. I got this old gauge. I got just some metal rods here, and these are some old plaques that I picked up at, I don't know where I picked them up, but they kind of match. So we're gonna do like a set of blue collar industrial picture frames. So just like the other project before, good cleaning right off the bat. These gauges had a lot of rust inside. I had to take the lens out and clean them on the inside, but they're gonna end up having all the patina that we need to just keep the whole vintage vibe going on with these photos. So here's a little trick that I learned. That's a polishing pad for like buffing out a car. So it really worked to get that glass shined up. And then for the wood bases, once again, I bring out my Old Faithful, my Make It Look Old stain, and I clean them up and get them a little bit shiny. Okay, so this is where I gotta get my thought process together. I got these really cool industrial pieces, and I got the idea in my head, but now it's the problem solving. That's what I love about these projects is the problem solving and figuring out how to make my vision kind of come to life. So my thought is I take this clamp and kind of that's gonna be the element that holds the picture, but then how do I gotta problem solve how I'm gonna get it to stand up correctly. So this rod is actually like a square piece of rod, and I figured, you know what, if I just put it in the clamp and clamp down on it at the right angle, then I'll be able to, you know, mount the picture on there. So mark where I need to cut the rod, and I'll go ahead and cut the rod, come back, and then kind of do my measurements on where to, I guess, mount the rod or drill the hole. You'll see here, it's just like figuring out the right angle, and then I'm pushing down and kind of marking the base with where I need to drill the hole to mount that rod. All right, so trial fit, gonna clamp that down, get that ready to go, and voila, now I got my base set up. Now I know what I'm gonna do with my first image. Working on these for a few minutes, I realized that the bases weren't as shiny as I liked, so I'm gonna go ahead and seal them up with some lacquer. This will give it a nice finished look once it's all done. Okay, so after clamping it down on the rod, I decided I needed to secure the bottom of this clamp a little bit better. You can see here, it kind of keeps sliding out. Right now, I'm really focused on getting the right angle right. But then I decided, you know, I need to keep it from sliding out. And if you noticed in the little knob of the clamp, there's a little hole. So I'm just gonna put a screw right through that hole into the wood, and that'll make this thing nice and solid. Top clamp will clamp down on the square rod, and then the bottom one will mount to the base of the project. And then just for good measure, I'm gonna kind of crank this thing down nice and snug on that rod. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a quick break and move on to the second one for the other picture. And for this one, this is the one we're gonna use the gauge on. So here I'm just gonna try to measure off how fat that, I guess, fitting is, and get a drill that's pretty close, and then just drill a hole in the wood to where I can screw in the fitting, making sure it's centered, measure twice, cut once, you know the thing. Okay, so now we're ready for the pictures. We got to get them shaped up, cleaned up, ready to mount. And I've got this crazy cool idea. I actually done it before, and I really like the way it turned out. So I'm going to basically use it again for this project here. So this is the secret recipe. This is, I guess it's screen. It's rusty old metal screen. I mean, not nothing you put on a window, but some type of screen you use for a sieve, or I don't know what it is, but I got a bunch of it. And this is what we're going to use to really kick up this project a notch. We're going to cut out some pieces of this stuff and mount the photo onto this screen, and then the screen will attach to each one of the projects. Okay, so obviously I know the size of the pictures. I already measured that. So now I'm cutting the screen, you know, giving myself some relief past the size of the picture. So I don't recall the size of the picture. If it was 3x3, then maybe I'm doing a 3.5 by 3.5 inch square for that particular picture. And then this part right here is obviously for the bigger picture that I've already measured to get the right size screen. Okay, so the screens are cut. You know, here's where you can see, like, I have just enough to kind of frame out the picture. Now the tricky part is, how am I going to mount this to the screen? Well, here's the trick. All you got to do is cut little slits into the corners, and then you could just easily slide the picture right into those little niches. And you got yourself a wire, rustic, industrial picture frame. Okay, and then the final step is figuring out how we're going to mount this to the clamp. So my idea is to just use some wire. You know, that's just vintage wire. I mean, I could hot glue it on, but no, we want to stick with the whole industrial primitive vibe. And we're going to use just some wire and put it on the mount itself. That extra part of the bolt that's sliding through is a perfect spot to twist tie this wire to. And we will just kind of tighten that up with the pliers there. Let's get it all clamped in. And shoot, we're just about done with this one. So cool. It's looking so cool. Okay, now to figure out the second one, my original thought was just to kind of somehow lean it up against the gauge there, and maybe put this little piece of rod down on the bottom, and that would keep it from sliding out. Thought possibly I could make some uprights and lean it up against it, but this is what I ultimately decided, was to basically make myself another piece of screen, and I will wire that together, and that kind of makes it stand up without leaning against the gauge. Okay, so after attaching the two pieces of screen together, you can kind of see here how it's going to mount. I'm actually going to just kind of like I did the other one. I'm gonna nail some tacks to hold it in place. But I felt like it needed to be finished on the bottom, so I'm still gonna mount that rod across the front to make it look like there's more to it, make it more substantial on the base. Cutting it to the right length, all I'm gonna use are these, like, what are those? The nails that you nail on to hold wires in place. I guess they're like chicken wire nails. That'll kind of give it an industrial look and hold that rod right on the front of the bottom of the picture. And then all that's left is to, once again, just slide it in the little slits that I already cut out. And I have got the coolest industrial frames I could have ever made for my grandpa's pictures. All right, so before I show you the close-up of these things, I hope I inspired you to possibly, pull out some of those old photos, come up with some creative ideas to get them out on the shelf. If you do anything or if you have any other ideas, put it in the comments. I've got a lot more photos that I need to put out, so I really dig this project. I'm really gonna do some more of these. I'll probably do a couple videos down the road. Anyhow, if you like the content, I appreciate it if you hit the like button. Check out some of my other videos. I'm a car guy, I do car show videos as well. So if you like all that type of stuff, maybe even hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. It helps motivate me to do more projects and keep the YouTube channel going. I'm gonna show you, these actually are going in my guest room as well, so I will go put them in there, take some pictures in there, some close-ups. Yeah, man, that's it. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a good one.